Stand very still. It's still unsafe to walk. You're standing over a large gold symbol, the letter M in a circle. This means you've reached the City of London in the year 2016 AD. Welcome to the past. Look up, and you will see the beamholes of the teleportation device that placed you here on an ancient street called Tottenham Court Road. The tour will now begin. Take a step toward the road itself, humming with oil-powered vehicles, and you will find yourself on the sidewalk used by pure humans. Don't be alarmed, these humans can't see through your camera skin. They don't know where you're from or who you are. Try not to stare. As you look at the road, you are facing west. So now turn to the south and walk slowly down the street. Take in your environment. The large structures around you are offices, stores, and homes, all made from the solid materials like brick, cement, and stone you will have studied. On your left is a store called Sainsbury's. These supermarkets once populated London in their hundreds, up until the Great Wave in 2070 AD. Carry on walking down the street. The vehicles you're seeing coming toward you on the road were called cars. Many of them were taxis, from before vehicular automation, all operated by a single pure human being, actively seeking customers to pick up and take to wherever they want to go in the city. Carry on walking south until you reach the corner outside Curry's PC World. On the far side of the junction, you can see the drinking house called the Northumberland Arms. It was demolished in 2032 AD to be converted into the gaming plaza which inspired the famous novel you have read by Hertz 14. Above it, you can see the BT Tower as it was in 2016 before its incorporation into the Sky Bridge. Cross the road southbound, but be careful to remember these vehicles are controlled entirely by human beings. Keep walking, and as you do, take notice of a galaxy of white smudges which decorate the floor. The purpose of these smudges has yet to be discovered. However, some archaeologists have suggested that they may have been leftovers from small animals, which typically shared the street with humans. Keep moving forward until you see a store called Bow Concept on your left-hand side. This establishment sells furniture, and if you look directly into the window, you'll see a sofa typical of the sort people of this age used to have in their homes. They were soft and often made of synthetic cloth, which may have been as a metaphor for the materiality of the pure human's existence. Continue southwards until you find yourself under the canopy, which reads Spearmint Rhino. Clubs such as these were popular amongst pure males before they became extinct during the trophic years. Inside, pure human women would dance with very little clothes on in exchange for reference money. Head south down the street and cross the road. You will find yourself soon outside the entrance to Santander, a red-coloured brand of banking company. Stop here and examine the organic structures on the other side of the road. These are protogenic trees, used along the edges of urban streets to help humans forget that they were in a completely artificial city. Notice the photographic marketing in the windows of Santander. These images worked to convince people that the bank were morally good. Pure humans of this age would happily believe marketing even as simple as this. Head south again until you reach a small arcade on your left which links Tottenham Court Road with a small street to the east. Walk down the arcade halfway and stop in the middle. Turn 180 degrees and pause to watch the road through the square frame of the arcade entrance. Imagine the square frame as a viewing screen. Then enjoy the following sound patterns which were contemporary to 2016 and illustrate the scene in the style of primitive music films. Now carry on down Tottenham Court Road until you find yourself outside the Fitzrovia Bell. Pull the door carefully open and step inside, where you'll find yourself inside the genuine specimen of a British pub. The sound patterns you're hearing have been chosen specifically to please the clients, and the wooden design helped pure human visitors to forget they were living in what we now know as a concrete jungle. The two monitors on the north and east walls show football games, the most popular sport in the world at the time. Before teleportation, remote screens like these were the best method to enjoy sport and games happening in a different space-time. Now step outside and continue your journey south. Once you are outside Starbucks Coffee, stop and consider how the planet-fracking company we know today by the same name began its life as a popular coffee and food vendor. Coffee stores such as these often looked straight out onto the street, where pure humans could sit and watch others of their species walk by. This was typical of the voyeuristic habits of this age. Look into the cafe and you'll notice that people inside might stare or look at you strangely. This is normal, and it's best not to react. Continue down the street until you are outside Highly Sprung. To the west, you'll see 2 telephone booths. Telephone booths were introduced to city space in the early 20th century in order for people to connect to each other by voice alone. These booths were some of the last to be used in London City, and you can see by their decrepit state that they were rarely used or maintained. Open the door and step inside one of these booths. What you are smelling is pure human urine. The booths were often used as lavatories during the night when intoxicated humans would look for a place to urinate. Now, step out of the booth and move on further down the street. Stop once you're outside Costa Fresco, a blue-room building on the corner. On your right, you can see a range of bikes. These are early manual versions of the personal automatic vehicles you will be familiar with. Continue walking south, and as you do, consider that every pure human, walking up and down in the same way, with the same features, same types of clothing, and even same facial expressions, were all complete strangers who knew nothing about each other. The social awkwardness between people in the street during these times was without precedent. The body language you'll observe is consistent with this phenomenon, and they're almost like early Android models. Cross the road to the west side, where you can step into an open square on the south side of a building labelled Cafe Nero. The square you are standing in is where the last air bomb fell on London City during the Second World War in the year 1945 AD. The bomb could only damage objects in a 20-metre radius, producing the space you can see now. Now continue south on the west side of the street until you reach Goodge Street Underground Station. This was a well-known tube station where citizens would descend to an underground level where trains took them to other stations dug into the earth across London City. People would step into the station and be transported out of sight from everyone else in the street. And this is where you'll be transported to. Please step into the station where this tour ends.